Genesis has been on your wish list and the GV70 SUV is something that you have been interested in. You got to take a look at this because this is the Genesis GV70 SUV for 2023. And guess what? It's not gas, it is electric. So Genesis has now added a third electric car to its lineup, the GV70. But the greatest news is you get to choose if you want gas or you want electric. The electric is only different in a couple of details. Other than that, it is the same Genesis GV70 that we have loved since they introduced it a couple of years ago. So come here because I want to show you a couple of things that are unique about the GV70 that show you that this is the electric. And the first one is right here. Come here, let me show you. So see this little G here on the front grille, this very flat front grille. It does not have the mesh that for air to move through the way the gas model does. But this is the charge door, and it's neatly tucked right here into the front grille, and you can take this part off for level 2 or both parts off for level 3 DC fast charging right here on the front grille. And there's a little light here that'll show you that the car is charging. So that's sign number 1 that this is the electric and not the gas model Genesis GV70. The next telltale sign that this is the electric and not the gas is down here. So there is a skid plate. There's actually an aluminum skid plate down here, which means that your battery system and all the systems underneath the GV70 are protected. You're not going to have to worry about driving over small rocks, off-road, which you're probably not going to do in this car. But think about snow or think about curbs are not going to damage the underside of your car because you have that skid plate. Another telltale sign, let's walk around to the rear of the car. So you'll notice on the rear end, the tail lights are the same that we've seen on the Genesis GV70, these linear tail lights. But how is it different in the back? We don't have exhaust pipes. So like we had the skid plate on the front, there's a skid plate here as well. And again, that protects the underside of the GV70 in case you're driving over things that might do a little damage to the car. Now, one of the things that we saw in the GV70 that we really loved from the beginning is the push button lift gate. The button is right there on the windshield wiper. And as we have with the GV70, we have this really nice large cargo area. So I'm going to sit all the way back and I will show you how big this really is. So it's not so tall, so it's tailgating as you can only sit this far back, but you have a really nice large cargo area in the rear of the Genesis GV70. So lots of space, even more if you want to put the seats down for carrying large things. Think rugs, tables, chairs, antique market finds, things like that. A nice trip to Home Goods, you're set in the Genesis GV70. So I'm going to walk around and show you what it looks like with the seats folded down. So the seats fold flat, and this is pretty nice. It gives you a nice linear flat area. You just pull this little tab here on the side of the seat, and you can fold the seats down or put them back up. But the best part of it is the experience inside the GV70. Let's take a look. The interior of the electrified GV70 is a real spoiler. So I want you to notice, first of all, this beautiful white leather interior. It's called Glacier White, and this is exclusive and the first time in the GV70. So if you want this white interior, you got to buy the electric. And by the way, look at this. This really beautiful steering wheel is white, as well as the armrest, and then leather covered details. So leather here on the center console, leather here on the dash, and then these here and surrounding your cup holders, leather everywhere, which is pretty amazing. Although, even though they're using leather, there still are a lot of sustainable materials, recycled and man-made materials in this car. So some of the other things that you'll see in here are made from sustainable materials, which is pretty awesome. And that's something we're probably going to see grow as Genesis evolves its brands. I know that we see more recycled materials in some of their other electric cars. But let's turn it on and see what it sounds like. You ready? So you really just get that nice chime, and I have a nice little chime here, and then I get some lights on the dashboard that tell me that the car is ready to go, and that's kind of it. And once you get in and go, you hear a little bit of a whir from the motors, but you don't hear anything else, and it is quite lovely. So let's talk about what you do get in the interior of this car. So first of all, you get this jewelry for your hand. This dial selector here is made from this machined textured metal. And then there's also this nice textured dial here. And then we've got textured metal here. So this has been a hallmark of Genesis since the brand had its massive redesign a few years ago, right about 2020. They came out with these details and it blew everyone away because they're so beautiful. But it's crystal and it's just gorgeous. Crystal there, crystal here, and this machined metal. It really feels like jewelry in your hand. It's quite gorgeous. And then here we have, I'll show you this here. There is a wireless phone charger there. So you just drop in your phone for wireless charging. There's also 2 USB ports in here. And I want you to notice they are standard USB ports. So not the new ones that we're seeing. These are standard ports, probably a little more universal globally. And then we have the 2 cup holders here and a nice armrest under here where you can store a few things. We've got some cords in here. We've got our key on this little tray here. A nice place to store a few things. There's also a 12-volt adapter in there. There's a lot of power in this car. There's 2 more USB ports in the back, and then there's actually a household outlet in the rear, as well as a 12-volt cigarette adapter style power outlet in the cargo area. If you need to charge something or you need to run an air compressor or something like that, you can actually do that with the GV70 Electrified. So let's talk about the steering wheel, which is white and lovely, and it has this new design here. It's something that we've seen on more Genesis models and something that we saw really prominent in the G90 when that was redesigned. And then there's this little button here that says boost. And you might be wondering, what does that thing do? When you're driving, you can change your horsepower. You can increase your horsepower from 429 to 483 with the push of a button, and you get that extra horsepower for about 10 seconds. And it's really fun. It puts much more fun in the on-ramps and the off-ramps in your life. Radio controls are here. Volume is there. And we have the drive controls, so driver assist features are here. And then we can actually use this button to scroll through our features on the driver information screen. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's 3D. Can you see the 3D graphics here? So how the car is kind of floating on the lane there. That shows me that lane keep assist is at work. You'll also see a couple other things I'll show you. Is there's a brake hold here. It says auto hold, and that means that you've got the brake hold working. And then I pedal. When I pull back this left paddle twice, I get I pedal. And what that is true one pedal driving. So when I take my foot off of the accelerator, the car will come to a complete stop. And you can actually regulate the speed of the car just using the accelerator and never using those beautiful white sport brakes that are on this car. Let's take a look at the screen. So you can use the dial, and that's easier to use the dial because the screen actually is a pretty good distance from the driver. But you can use this dial and scroll through to different features here. Genesis added this new tile design icons on the screen, which are really pretty and give you a nice idea of what each tile does. So I can tap and look for the map, or I can go back, and let's go back to our menu. Let's go home. I can look at, I can go to anything that I want here, Genesis Connected Services. So you can even set up your seats, and then there is on the driver's seat, it's an ergo motion seat. So the driver's seat allows you to set up ergo motion, which is sort of a massage, not exactly, but it's fun. It's nice. That and the heat, it gives you a nice little, nice relaxing drive. All of the electric car functions are found here in the EV app on the multimedia system. So just tap that app and you will see you can set departure time. You can see how much battery is left. Then you can dial over and get the closest charging station. You just click on this and it will take you to those charging stations and give you some others as well. Then it will also, you just continue to dial, you can use the EV charge transfer. So this is the vehicle to load, and all you do is plug in that adapter and then you can use the battery on the GV70 as a power station. So you can also show, when you click that, it will show you how much is in the battery, and it will show you how much it will use. So it will charge up to 20%, or you can dial it and change it up to, say you want to only get down to 60%, you don't want to use more than 20% of the battery if you're at 80. So you can actually turn the dial and set the amount that you're allowing others to charge off of your battery before you have to use it to go somewhere. This screen here has climate control, so you can dial the temperature, you can adjust the fan. This is actually haptic, so I can feel that. You might actually be able to hear it. Hear that clicking sound? So that's the haptic feedback. Here are the seat heaters and coolers, so I tap up for heat and down for cooling, and in the middle it's off. And then I can have driver only fan, heated steering wheel, turn the air conditioner, turn on the heat. I can sync by tapping this over here. And this is all a screen. And I can actually turn it on or off by tapping this. Our hot buttons are here. So this will take me quickly to map, navigation, favorites. I can set that. There's my hazards, radio, media, and setup. So in addition to the gear selector here, the multimedia system here, this also functions to on the multimedia system. Then we have our park assist, our drive mode selector is here, and we have this camera system. So we can choose our camera system and it gives you a nice surround view. You can choose the view you want, and then you can even set up some details there, which is really great. And a nice thing is it still gives you your energy usage information over here, and even shows you where the nearest charging station is. Here you can toggle through eco, comfort, sport, or you can set up your own drive mode selection. And if you want to, you can even hold it to go into snow mode because you have all-wheel drive. The rear seat of the Genesis Electrified GV70 is delicious. It is just beautiful. It's this beautiful white leather. There's a fold-down armrest here. Backseat passengers have a lot of great features. So there's the panoramic sunroof, which is covered here by this really beautiful microswayed screen. And then back here, you have your own air vents. You've got air vents here, and then you can set your temperature. We have heated rear seats in the model that we're in. This is the Prestige model, has heated rear seats for backseat passengers. And there are 2 standard USB ports here. So lots of comfort. I will say it is a compact SUV. The rear seat legroom is not huge, but it's not bad. And it's a very comfortable, very lovely rear seat. You can recline the seats quite a lot. So you'll see where this seat is versus where I am. I can recline and put my head back and take a nap, and that's a lovely thing in a beautiful car like this. But one feature that we have long loved in the GV70, in fact in all Genesis vehicles, is this. This button, which can be reached by rear seat passengers, moves the seat forward or back. So, and you can also move the seat back, which means that the driver or rear seat passengers can move this seat to make themselves comfortable. So we just are leaving a charge station because it's not fast enough. But what we were able to do is, using the system here, we were able to find a charge station that has a faster charge outlet. So we're going to go there. So now it's telling me but I want to make a left here. So we're going to hop on the highway and show you what the electrified GV70 is like to drive.
It's well weighted. Everything feels good.
It does feel good,
it has
doesn't it?
plenty of power. It's very smooth. It rides well. It just does. It's an overachiever.
The power, the overachiever, I like that. The power alone is just great. Who wants to see what boost mode is?
Yeah.
Ready? Woo!
And you feel it.
Boy, you really do feel it push you back in your seat. That's incredible. You could just do that all day. Do you see the front end of the car?
Yeah, I mean, like, it wants to go.
I'll go through this light and then I'll do it again.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
I still had it. Actually, you know what? I let off.
Yeah.
It keeps that
going.
boost for 10 seconds. So.
And there's no recharge time to it. Like if you're in the
No, you just
like the Hyundai Kona N and stuff, like you have to wait for it to boost back up.
Oh, no.
In this you can just keep pushing.
Stays.
Yeah.
It just stays. I don't know if you can see the red line there.
Yeah.
When I push it, I get the red line. Now I could push it and get the but I don't have to. But look how the front end goes up. That's just so great. I feel like they really took a step back and decided to look at the things they could improve in this car without making a lot of physical changes to the car. And they were able to really improve the power, the handling, the noise. I will say the noise in this car, the quiet ride has been pretty stunning all day.
Yeah, and there's really, I mean, we're cruising along at what, like 65 miles an hour.
And we're on a loud road.
On
look
a
at
loud
how,
road, yeah.
Yeah.
There's hardly any wind noise, you know.
I think this microswade has something to do with that.
Could be. Yeah.
I think the microswade really dampens the outside noise quite a lot. I do hear a little wind, but
I hear a little wind, but I mean
it's pretty quiet. I really am loving the ergo motion seat, though. I'll tell you. And I just like when I just touch the button, it comes to life. I don't even have to see that. Can you see this over here? I just touch the button, and the whole thing comes to life. So. In fact, I can you just keep pushing it and it goes through the whole repertoire of pelvic, lumbar, whole body massage, ergo motion. They call it ergo motion and not massage. And really the idea behind that is to move your body in very small motions so that you don't get fatigued from sitting behind the wheel. And okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that there are even higher end vehicles that have systems like that. I can't think of too many other direct competitors that have a system like that.
But one of the questions you might have, it's one we have about every electric car, is what's under the hood? Now this isn't something I normally show you because usually it's just a lot of plastic and stuff that you really need to be a trained professional to manage. But in this case, I do want to show you what's under the hood because there is a very tiny, small frunk, but some critical equipment, including this is where you'll find the tire mobility kit. So this is something that you might normally find in the cargo area. Genesis decided to put it up front here. You could put a few other very small things, a few tools or something like that under here. There is coolant. And there is windshield washer fluid over there in the corner. So if you need to know where to put in the windshield washer fluid, that's where that is. Tire mobility kit. And then that's kind of about it underneath the frunk. There is other stuff underneath here, but that is for your mechanic to explore. Don't go digging under there because this is not the kind of car that you work on yourself. Because it's electric. The GV70 Electrified has about a 236 mile range. It has true one pedal driving, so you can actually add to that range. You can recharge up to 80% in about 30 minutes at a DC fast charger, or if you're impatient, you can get 60 miles in 5 minutes at a DC fast charger. Now let's talk about the experience behind the wheel, which is where it's really fun. 439 horsepower, And there is boost mode, so you can actually up that to 483 horsepower for 10 seconds by pushing that button, and you can push that button all day long. Now it will take a little bit from your battery and reduce your range a little bit, but you know, what's the fun worth? The electrified version of the GV70 comes in two editions. There's Advanced, which has a starting price of about $65,000, and then there is the Prestige, which has a starting price of about $72,000. And if you think that's a lot, well, this will make you feel better. It does qualify for federal tax incentive of about $7,500 and probably some incentives from your local state. Additionally, Genesis is increasing the number of states where their electric models are sold. So prior, you really could only get them in the New York area and in California. Now they're for sale in 15 states, and it is in production right now in its Montgomery, Alabama factory, and they'll be rolling into dealerships pretty soon. March of 2023 is when we expect to start seeing them roll off the line. The one thing you won't see on the Genesis GV70 electric is anything that says electric on the rear of the car. There's no badge, there's no trim level information, and there's no electric badge here. And that's by design. Genesis wanted you to be able to choose gas or electric. They do give you some nice features. 236-mile range is not huge, but it's not unusual for this category. $72,000 is pricey, but you do get the tax incentive. And then Genesis also throws in 3 years of 30-minute charge sessions at Electrify America stations. So all in all, this is a great way to learn to drive electric in a car that will really spoil you.